Hey friends, it's UrsulasRevenge, and today we are continuing our guide on archaeology, but this time we are focusing our attention on Epona. If you have not seen the first part all about Dino Valley, I highly recommend checking out that video first, as it sets up the foundation for what we'll be talking about today. Dino Valley Archaeology is also required to unlock Epona Archaeology, so you will still need to know it first. Without any further ado, let's talk about Epona's archaeology. First, you'll need to actually unlock Epona. Since I first started playing Star Stable, they have changed the way to unlock Epona and they've made it a little bit easier. That said, it's still a bit more involved than it was to unlock Dino Valley. So the first requirement is that you have to be level 14. You'll also have to unlock a couple other areas of the map. This may be a little deeper than I need to go, but we're going to go to the beginning. To start, you will need to repair the bridge to the Harvest Counties that lead you to Wolf Hall Inn. From there, you're going to do all of the quests with Ed Field. He's eventually going to give you a chainsaw so you can hack away at the Greendale Forest and clear the path through. At the end of the path, you will meet Mrs. Pike, who will have a quest that will take you to Jorvik Stables. But before you even get there, you're going to divert to Jarlheim and talk to the mayor. After completing quests for both Jack and Jill, they will lead you to Stein in Jorvik Stables, where he will essentially tell you that Herman is on vacation, but there's still plenty of chores to do. At that point, there is a reputation lock, so you will need to become friendly with Jorvik Stables by doing the stable chores, Stein's quests, the other chores and races around the area. Once you become friendly, Stein will have a quest titled Herman on Vacation. You kind of learn that Herman's been hiding out, but he is around, and you get him out of his house. From there, you will be introduced to Mrs. Drake and GED Jarlheim. At that point, you will have another reputation-locked quest. Once you are friendly with GED Jarlheim, Miss Drake will give you the quest Step Up in Your Career. I actually see this question a lot, so answering it here. As far as Miss Drake's daily quests go, they are only available on certain days of the week. I believe the only 2 days that she does not have quests are Saturday and Thursday. Every other day, she should have a daily quest for you. I'm pretty sure on Sunday, but I keep forgetting to check on Sundays, but I'm like 90% sure she has a quest on Sunday. Now, from her quest, Step Up in Your Career, you're going to go to Herman, and he's going to say, this is exactly what we need to take GED down. I'm going to set up a meeting. If you have done all of those other quests and you're level 14, you should get a text message from Herman telling you to meet him at his house. At that point, he's going to give you 2 quests, one where you'll need to talk to the Jarlsons and one where you'll need to talk to the Goldspurs. Both of their quests are, once again, reputation locked. I am pretty sure you need to be friendly reputation with both of those. For the Goldspurs, I was already liked because I had done a couple of other quests with them, but it would make sense that they would both require you to be friendly. Once you finish both of their quest lines, you will return back to Herman, and at that point, you will set out on your adventure to Old Hillcrest and Epona. Once you are introduced to Pamela Moonriver, you have officially unlocked Epona and you have free reign of the whole area. For your convenience though, I recommend you do both the quests with Li Ming and Ed Field to unlock the different gates to open up all passages to Epona. So now that you've unlocked Epona, we can talk about how to unlock Epona Archaeology. Like I mentioned earlier, Dino Valley Archaeology is a prerequisite to unlocking Epona's archaeology. Professor Jura will have a reputation-locked quest for you to actually go to Epona and continue your adventures there. To unlock that reputation quest, you need to be liked with the AAE Archaeology Department, as well as have turned in 1 complete fossil to Professor Jura. Some ways to gain reputation with the AAE Archaeology Department are to do your mining in Dino Valley. The blue or silver or rock-colored fossils will give you 1 to 3 experience each, which is very slow going, but the orange extra interesting finds will give you anywhere between 20 and 40, I think, experience. However, turning in complete fossils will give you a whole 100 experience towards the AAE Archaeology Department. Once you have satisfied those requirements, Professor Jura will send you to Epona to meet Hawaii Jones, and she will have a whole questline about unlocking Epona Archaeology. Now, Hawaii Jones' quest is also quite involved. It takes about a half hour, and there will be a lot of reading because it is very much puzzle-based. If you love puzzles, read very carefully, you will solve it in no time. However, if you are maybe a little puzzle challenged or just want the answers, I got the hook up here too. If you want to solve the puzzles yourself, go ahead and skip to this timestamp to completely skip the spoilers. You have been warned. I'm giving you the answers now. So the first riddle Hawaii has for you is unlocking her safe. To actually solve for the answer, you're going to count up the number of houses in each color and put them in the correct color order in the combination. So she asks for red, green, blue, then brown. You're going to count up that there are 6 red houses, 4 green houses, 5 blue, and 5 brown houses, giving you the combination of 6, 4, 5, 5. The next part of the puzzle is going to the different locations in Mississippi Jones's journal. The first one will take you to the Sunset Isles, specifically that little island that has the dark brown patches of dirt with the columns on it. It is closer to South Hoof Peninsula side of the Sunset Isles. The second location is the end of the Great Thunder. That is the chasm underneath the bridge by the Butter Hill Mansion. I believe you can access it from the Sunset Isles, but you can also access it from the Mirror Marshes. Mississippi Jones location number 3 is Fort Maria, towards the main entrance, kind of on the lookout where Butch is standing. The fourth Mississippi Jones location is back to the Sunset Isles, but one of the further ones away from South Hoof. There is a brown dirt colored X mark spot on the floor. You're going to go to that island. The next two will take you towards the Mirror Marshes. The one will take you to that spring end cave entrance thing that you can't really go inside of. These are the coordinates if that helps you get to it easier. And finally, the last location is the bottom of the cauldron. The cauldron is the spiral area on the map. It's a little hard to get to. There are 2 ways I recommend. The first is about halfway to the Mirror Marshes along the far wall that's going towards the cauldron. There's going to be a chain link fence that has a path. If you follow that path all the way up, that's technically the correct way to get to the cauldron. The probably easier way to get to it, because there's a bigger landmark, is going to the observatory by ways of Old Deuce Farm. If you go to Old Deuce Farm and you kind of climb up the mountain a bit to get to the observatory, if you kind of look over the edge of the observatory, you will look down into the cauldron. Just carefully shimmy yourself down the mountain, you'll eventually get to the path that takes you deeper down into the cauldron. Continuing those quest dialogues, there is one more final puzzle where it takes you to a spider door and you have to press the buttons that relate to the spider door. Specifically, you are looking for a button that has a spider web, a spider, and the Roman numeral 8, which is VIII. Press all those buttons, take the diary back to Hawaii Jones, and you've completed the quest. To avoid being a bit repetitive, we're going to skip over exactly how archaeology works, since it's largely the same as how it was in Dino Valley. There are still 3 different kinds of rocks: the empty one, the one with your normal fossil finds that has the bluish crystals, and your extra interesting fossils that have your orange crystals. Your extra interesting finds are still once per day per section, and each section will have 4 pieces of a specific collection. Old Deuce Farm will have 4 pieces of a Viking sword, Mirror Marshes will have 4 pieces of a cutlery set, Butter Hill will have 4 pieces of the Roman amphora, and Shipwreck Shore will have 4 pieces of the maritime spyglass. These are all of the coordinates in the order that I collect them in. The next video in this series will be a ride-along of all of the locations in order if you prefer to see the path. It will cover all Dino Valley and Epona fossil locations. Now, once you collect your fossils and extra interesting finds, you'll want to turn them in. At the end of the Hawaii Jones quest, she will introduce you to Professor Chiron, who will then introduce you to Walter Winterwell. Professor Chiron will specifically collect your complete fossil set, so think about the dinosaur fossils in Professor Jura. This is the Epona equivalent. For Professor Chiron, you will need the following. From the Viking sword collection at the Old Deuce Farm, you will need 3 large shards, 10 small shards, 4 parts of a handle, and 1 button. From the cutlery collection from the Mirror Marshes, you will need 8 silver spoons, 8 silver forks, 8 silver knives, and 4 wine glasses. For the Roman amphora found at Butter Hill, you will need 2 large shards of ceramic, 6 small shards of ceramic, 4 sharp shards of ceramic, and 5 pointy shards of ceramic. And finally, for the maritime spyglass from Shipwreck Shore, you'll need 1 lens, 6 brass tubes, 2 copper rings, and 5 leather straps. Unlike Dino Valley, Professor Chiron will only allow you to turn in 1 complete fossil set per collection. So you can only turn in 1 complete cutlery set, 1 complete maritime spyglass, and so on, versus Professor Jura for Dino Valley, where you can turn in an infinite amount of each color fossil. For the extra interesting finds, you will want to turn those into Walter Winterwell. Just like Dino Valley, you can only find 1 extra interesting find per section per day. The extra interesting finds for Epona are tin soldiers, your Jitsu badges, half-rotten book pages, and antique amulets. You can turn these into Walter Winterwell as many times as you want for however many you collect. This is one of the ways that I actually suggest you make money in Star Stable. It works great as a banking method because you can save your extra interesting finds in your storage and then turn them in whenever you want to get the items that you can then sell for Jorvik shillings. I have whole videos dedicated to this, so if you want to learn more about making money in Star Stable, definitely check those out. Now, this isn't technically part of the guide, it's just something that I've noticed. Maybe it's obvious, I don't know. But on my main account where I have maxed my reputation with the AIE Archaeology department, I collected so many things. excluding extra interesting finds. But the normal fossils that I've collected, I was able to complete all 4 fossil sets in just one run. However, on my side account that I used to unlock everything so I can really complete my research for this video, I only collected about a third or a quarter of all the fossils that I would need to complete the collections. And I think that the higher reputation you are, the more things you unlock from each fossil. I don't know if there's a way that I can actually prove this. Obviously, it's kind of a limited amount of time that you can prove this because the more fossils you collect, the more reputation you get. I just thought it was interesting that on my side account, it might take me anywhere from 3 to 5 tries to actually complete all the collections, but on my main account, I could have just done it in one. So now that I've taught you everything there is to know about archaeology, I did want to talk about a couple of the differences between Dino Valley Archaeology and Epona Archaeology that actually makes Epona a lot better. First, when it comes to extra interesting finds. In Epona, you are guaranteed to get 4 extra interesting finds every day. I touched on this a little bit in the Dino Valley video, but in that one, when you're getting extra interesting finds, you might get an extra interesting find, or you might get something you can just sell that's essentially extra interesting trash, as I've been calling it. On the flip side, you also have a chance to get multiple extra interesting finds for Dino Valley. So let's say instead of getting 1 Yorjitsu badge, you're actually getting 2 cell phones. But it's also kind of random. When it comes to turning in your extra interesting finds for Epona, you only need 1 or 2 of each extra interesting find. So for example, to get rewards from Walter Winterwell in Epona, you'll need to turn in either 2 Yorjitsu badges, 2 tin soldiers, 1 antique amulet, or 1 half-rotten book page. But in Dino Valley, you have to turn in 3 to 7 of each extra interesting finds to get 1 reward. Coupled with the fact that they're not guaranteed per rock, and if you do get them, you might only get 1 or 2. I just think that the gamble pays off much better in Epona. Mostly because your duplicate rewards actually get you much more money in Epona than they do Dino Valley. In Dino Valley, while you can get a couple of items that are worth 75 shillings, or maybe 20 shillings, or 8 shillings, most of the trash that you get from Dino Valley is only 1 or 2 shillings. And while that can add up, the trash that you get from Epona sells for much more and you get much more of it. Specifically when it comes to exchanging your extra interesting finds, like I say, it's a really great way to make money in Star Stable. You'll get clothing items or tack items that can sell from over 300 to 600 and something shillings per item. But the duplicates that you get from Archaeology, either extra interesting finds or turning in fossils with Professor Jura, only sell for 100 shillings each. And that's if you get a duplicate. Overall, the return from Archaeology in Epona is just much better than Dino Valley. Additionally, the fossil sets are easier to collect, and they require less pieces per collection. I also think that they're equally difficult. I don't think one is harder than the other, unlike Dino Valley, which each color is progressively more difficult, with the red being the hardest to complete. In conclusion, I really like Epona Archaeology so much better than Dino Valley. Unfortunately, Dino Valley is like that necessary evil that you have to complete before you can get to Epona. It's like a rite of passage almost. I didn't even talk about the rewards you can get. So, like Dino Valley, there are specific clothing items that you can redeem from the different NPCs to actually complete your set, your collection. These are all the clothing and tack items that you can redeem from Epona Archaeology. All of the items on the left from Walter Winterwell you can get duplicates of. This is just the clothing and tack. Sometimes he will also get you things that pretty much can only be used to sell. But keep an eye on these stacks because you'll get thousands of these items and they'll sell for a lot. The items on the right are items you can only get once as quest rewards. The top section is Professor Chiron's rewards from turning in 1 of each fossil set, and you complete that set with Hawaii Jones after you finish her quest and she introduces you to Professor Chiron. You get her jacket, and basically Professor Chiron just completes the quest. So technically it was the opposite of what I said. Don't sell the items on the right unless you really don't like them, because there's no other way to get them back. The ones on the left, though, from Walter Winterwell, sell those bad boys for money. And with that, you now know everything that I know about archaeology for both Dino Valley and Epona. Like I said earlier, the last part of this series will be me going to all of the fossil location coordinates and show you the paths that I use to get all of my fossils. It will show you all locations for Dino Valley and Epona, so you'll have just one video to go to for all of the information you will need as far as, finding all your fossils. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video like this. I do try to cover every Wednesday update and more. And if you have an idea for another guide that you would like me to cover, let me know in the comments below. Truthfully, I'm a little hyper fixated on Star Stable, so Looking things up and doing research brings me so much joy, so if there's anything that you want to learn how to do in Star Stable that you don't know how, even if it's just like things like tips and tricks, how to do better, let me know because I would love to dig into all those answers for you. And with that, I will see you all in the next video. Bye!